Welcome back, everyone. We've already had our first series of the upper bracket today. So we are moving on to our second one, which is OG up against Entity. And we've also had a little bit of a shuffle on the panel. It is Godz, Lacoste, and Sheep joining me. Now, Godz and Lacoste, how are you guys going? I haven't talked to you guys today yet.
Doing great.
Doing good. You know, seeing this first game, PSG LGD, they kind of set the tempo for this whole tournament, and I want to see if OG can match it, because they're also known as a very fast team.
Yeah, do you feel that there is similarities in their styles at all? Could we see OG potentially do some things that LGD have done?
No one's doing things that LGD is doing the way they're doing, but OG also, as I said, a fast team. If you remember their game against the RNG, where they did finish the game in 12 minutes, one of the fastest games ever, I believe, top 10 overall. So they know what's up, and they also do have Seb one more time on LAN. You know, last Stockholm major, he was forcing his Vendranger, and this time around, it feels like he's just forcing Earthshaker.
I know that you have some thoughts on the Earthshaker Godz, but what about OG in general? Are you impressed with how they're shaping up at the moment?
I think with OG, it's usually this like steady improvement throughout the tournament. We saw that in Stockholm too, where they didn't have the best group stage, and then even in the playoff bracket, they dropped down and had to make this big lower bracket run. So when you have like a stand-in, essentially, even if it's someone like Seb, who you're familiar with, he's still getting back playing Dota, you're going to improve day by day, and that's what I kind of expect from OG.
What about the side of Entity? You know, they do have a stand-in as well. They have Saberlight playing with. Talk about it then, Sheep, please.
Okay, thank you. I love it. I love Saberlight. I think he's one of the funniest dudes in this scene. He is just a purebred offlaner, man. He, like, in the lead up to this tournament, I was checking out his, on Pro Dota track. I was like, what is he pubbing? What carries is he going to play? Now, he just kept playing offlaner. He just didn't give a shit. And that's what we've seen. He came into this tournament. He's been playing offlane heroes. And, like, I think it's a really good example of how, like, carry and offlane are starting to, like, merge a little bit. You know, the heroes he's been playing, stuff like Bristleback, CK. You know, CK's been flexed between offlane and carry in the past. It's still being done. These, like, Dooms we've been seeing, like, 23 Savage playing as a carry. Saberlight's trying it too.
Yeah.
I think, like, these roles are very similar, and Saberlight's doing a good job of showing that you can, like, kind of come in with a strat like this and have success.
That's also what I wanted to ask a little bit about, right? Is like a pos 3 going to a pos 1. How does it feel like when you have to change your fight awareness, how you're using the map? Or do you think that that's why it's working, is because Saberlight hasn't had to change that?
I think it's working because Entity was also, during the DPC tour, a team that did experiment a lot with their safe laners. Pure has a wide hero pool, and he did play like Leshrac. He was the one who brought in a Doom on the safe lane multiple times. So this is not that big of a change for the team.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I also think, you know, we always talk about like pos 1, pos 2, pos 3. It's almost like a bit of an antiquated way of talking about roles in Dota, because like a lot of the roles have just blended in. Some games, the two supports are getting equal farm. It really is, in many ways, a thing of the past, even though obviously it still exists to some extent when it comes to players going to a certain lane.
Yeah, well, we can see on this graphic here in front of us, the most picked heroes for the two teams. There are some overlaps with that Puck and that Bat Rider Razor as well, and the Gen 2, actually, seeing it there. Does it make you wonder how this draft is going to play out for bans? Are they going to be going for those most contested hero bans?
I'd say Entity is the most predictable teams in terms of how they're going to draft, because so far in the tournament, their hero pool is lowest. So you can expect some of these like offlaners that Sheepa mentioned going to be played, so you know what's going to come out. They're not theory crafting too hard. They're sticking, because it's their first LAN for most of the players, and you want to pick them heroes that they feel very comfortable playing. And also, I think Saberlight's, as the tournament progressed, he is playing those carry heroes as well. And I mean, he just has this Chad energy. One of his tweets is like, "Oh, this is the easiest role that I played so far."
By Midas win game.
Carry of the tournament.
Yeah, I think that is going to be like one of my favorite tweets. He was just like, "There's nothing more I enjoyed doing than what was it like? I don't enjoy anything more than like proving people wrong, unless it's like farming and like getting a 35-minute minus."
I don't know. Either way, we chatted up, and yeah, I don't think he's had like super success on these natural carries. His Faceless Void, while I think he won with it, his scoreline was like kind of bad, a bit feedy. Like you can tell he's a bit unfamiliar, obviously. So I actually thought he was going to play more Nature's Prophet this tournament, but he hasn't. Because that was like something he was playing on his actual team and in pubs leading up to the event.
Yeah, he seems to be playing more of like the frontliney tanky boys, like setting up some of his playmakers, particularly Stormstormer behind him, who's like this, the flashy, the puck, the kind of the carry from the mid lane style of player.
These two teams have faced up against each other in DPC. Obviously, now both of them having stand-ins, is it going to be different than how we saw them during the tour?
OG did have their number in Tour 3 and Tour 2. They 2-0'd them 2 times, I believe. And, I mean, Entity as a team is growing by each day. I'm going to say that they still didn't reach their peak because this is a hard-working team. If you look at the progress of some of the players, especially Stormstormer and Kataomi, for me, Kataomi is the best, like the standout position 4 so far in all 6 regions that we have. He's been amazing in terms of efficiency, how he moves around the map, and setting up his course for success.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they are going to be playing. We are jumping into this OG Entity series.